Rated M for mature.
Don't let your kids watch it!
The store where my father ordered the jackets from is a fancy boutique. Oh wow, you know it's fancy when it's called a boutique instead of a shop. It's hard to believe my father would shop at a store like this on his own. I could tell right away that Rina-san took him here. I handed over his receipt to the cashier. A short time later, the store manager came out wearing a perplexed look.
Ryugu-sama, 大変申し訳ございません。
Sama? What's wrong? What's with that?
実は入荷のトラックが高速で事故渋滞に巻き込まれているようでございまして、おそらくはもうじき到着すると思うのですが。
He said that the driver called a while ago, told him that he just got off the highway and should be there in about an hour. I didn't need to know all the details, but he explained them to me anyway. I asked him if I should come back tomorrow. He insisted that I should wait because the truck would be coming shortly, and he urged me to take a seat on their sofa. For an hour? But I didn't really feel comfortable waiting there, so I told him I'd be back soon and left the store. Yeah, that makes more sense. Go to the library or something. I wondered if there are any fast food restaurants nearby. Oh, if there's Culver's, we're going. I might have to go all the way back to the station. I looked around and found a coffee house. The glass on the door was black, so I couldn't see inside. That's how you know it's a quality coffee house, right? Sama is a really respectful way to address someone. I thought it was like mainly reserved for like royalty and such, or like someone who's like really, really in a position of authority over you. Maybe not. Like all the old people call Rika Rika-sama because they think she's the like reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Yeah. Worst thing someone can do is compare their suffering to others. Yes and yes and no. I get that can definitely lead to toxic situations where you're just like, look, like I'm in a bad situation, but it's not a problem because other people have it worse. But at the same time, it can actually recontextualize stuff if stuff is genuinely not that big of a deal. Like sometimes if I'm like, man, I've had a rough day, and then I just like listen to a video about like North Korean survivors like who escaped the country, like recounting their experience. I'm just like, oh, I've never had a bad day. And it's not to the extent where I'm like, oh no, like someone I love died, but it's not that big a deal. Like, no, it's something where like, oh man, you know, I was stuck in traffic at work today, and like I had to go to a bunch of meetings, and like stuff that's genuinely not a big deal. Recontextualizing it can help, but yeah, you don't want to just be like, my misery is unimportant compared to others. There's a poster saying the price for a cup of tea is lower than normal for women on weekdays. That's sexist. I'd just be going to get a cup of tea to kill some time. It should be okay. But still, I hesitated to go inside before opening the door. Her first impression of the coffee house was the smell of cigarettes. Her first? Why are we saying her? And no, it's no longer Rena's point of view? It's normal for coffee houses to be filled with cigarette smoke. It's like a requirement. Okay, different time, different country. But Rena still regretted her decision. Yeah, who's narrating this now? Is this Morgan Freeman? While she was thinking about leaving, the proprietor spoke to her brusquely and showed her to a table. Rena gave up the idea of leaving and sat down. The atmosphere in the shop was far from a clean, normal coffee house where you would go to simply enjoy coffee and cigarettes. It was more like a place where vulgar people would hang around. Wow. Rena didn't feel comfortable at all, but what bothered her most was the laughter of a man and a woman sitting together at the very back of the shop. Yeah, how dare they be happy together? Her table was behind a planter, so depending on how one looked at it, one could say she was in the spot most protected from their laughter. But Rena looked as though she wanted to leave as soon as she finished her tea. Oh hey, it's the same place that her mom took her to break the news. Oh wait, no, it's just the same background. The bell hanging from the entrance door rang, letting her know a customer just came in. It was a little surprising for her that a coffee shop like this could draw in so many customers. Rena peeked at the newcomers from behind the planter. There were two of them. They looked like vulgar men, the kind people you wouldn't want to get involved with the instant you saw them. Oh, hey, it's me! The proprietor tried to show them to a table, but they ignored him and walked towards the back. They walked up to the couple who had been laughing loudly and greeted them with a bow.
Oh.
Oh, no! Oh, shoot, it's the crappy uncle.
やっと来よったんか。まあ座れや。
The couple stopped laughing. Yeah, as they should when you see Uncle Vernon, and the man told the newcomers to sit down in a threatening tone of voice. As instructed, the two of them took a seat. Uh-oh.
で、どういうこった？
すんまへん。なんとかその。
ごたくはええねポゲ。とっととうなるもんさらさんかい。
The two of them looked at each other before they each took an envelope out of their pockets and put it on the table. The man roughly grabbed the two envelopes and tore one of them open. Inside there were many wrinkled 10,000 yen bills bound into a bundle with a rubber band. Oh, he's paying his gambling debts, I guess. He opened the other one to make sure it also had cash in it and threw it to the woman.
おい、数えんね。
Every bit of Rena's internal thoughts feel real and natural to how someone's thoughts pop into your mind. That's true. The dialogue is natural, even if I don't agree with it. The way she hates her mother's old belongings, but also feels sentimental towards them. Yeah, it's well done.
ちょっと私に命令しな
What
い
is
でくれる
Rena doing hanging around this dip?
もともと私の金なんだから。
じゃがましい。黙って数えんなええんね。
The man yelled at the woman. She licked her thumb. She stuck in her thumb, pulled out a plum, looked annoyed, and started counting the cash expertly. She's very good at counting 10,000 yen bills because she gets so much. The two newcomers hung their heads while she counted. Lighting a cigarette, the man waited for her to finish counting. So she came in here with Uncle Vernon. Okay.
はいよ、全部あるわよ。
The woman said that after flicking for the last bill. The newcomers looked relieved. They didn't know. The man, however, didn't look satisfied as he stared at the bundle of bills the woman was holding.
律子、それいくらあった？
全部って言ったわよ。
全部っていくらかっちゅって聞いとんねん。
だから私が貸した金全部。
バカが。利子はついとるか聞いとるんねん。
They had to pay you more! Because I said so. The man and Ritsuko yelled at each other. Even though they were making all that noise, the other customers acted like they didn't hear anything. This is just normal occurrence.
おい、兄さん方。200万びったんこっきゃないんね。どういうこっちゃ？
The two of them looked like they were trying to find some excuses to make. It seemed like this behavior had touched the man's nerves, as he started looking furious.
おら！黙っとったらわからんがな！
Wow, this is the happiest Teppei's ever been in his life, by the way. His angry voice echoed throughout the shop. He hit the table hard and dropped a glass on the floor. That just seems unnecessary. The noise thickened the tension in the atmosphere.
すんまへん。
すまんで済んだら警察はいらんちゅうねん。こちとら出るとこ出ても一個に構わんでんの。
それはどうかご勘弁ください。
The two newcomers must have been in an extremely vulnerable position. They bowed so deeply that their foreheads almost touched the table.
それを勘弁したるって今日呼んだんねん。それがどういうけじめのつけ方な。あ？
すんまへん。エロすんまへん。
And this, folks, is why you don't gamble. And also why you don't go to strip clubs. Like, seriously, if you want to go to a strip club, bro, the internet exists, okay? While you could pity them, the newcomers looked as vulgar as the men threatening them, making it hard to decide whether you should feel sorry for them or not. After a while, Ritsuko opened her mouth as if to offer them help.
てっちゃん
Oh my gosh! Why do you look so ugly? We did see her uncle in one single sprite in Chapter 5. But wow, he's... Ah! I want money! I want money! Let's see what we got. He looks angry here too. She looks more evil there. Ah! I'm angry with a cigarette, no matter what art style you choose. Lovely.
すごんじゃかわいそうでしょ。
Why are you calling him Techan? Tekken, don't be mean to them.
ごめんね。うちの人銭に絡むとすぐトサカに来ちゃう人で。
My guy. Also, your lip sync was really off there. Why are you calling him my guy? Is he like your pimp? Is he just like your bodyguard because you work at a gentleman's club? I don't know. But I don't like this though.
銭絡むと余計だんねん。お前にあやつけよったんから本気になっとんよ、おら。
もうバカなこと言っても何にも出ないわよ。
The man pulled Ritsuko roughly into his arms and frantically kissed her lips without caring about the other customers. Well, oh boy. Okay, we gotta break her up with our dad. Oof. Their kiss wasn't like the lovely ones the normal couples would share. It looked obscene instead. Oof. Yeah, he's making a show. He's like, yeah, come here, baby. Give me some sugar. He let her lips go to take a breath, kissed them again, then repeated that for a while. She seems into it too. She's not pulling away. She couldn't pull away anyways, but after a while, he finally got bored of kissing and let her go.
うちの人は私のことになるとすぐ頭に血が上っちゃうのよね。
Oh yeah, she's okay, yeah. So she's just double dipping for dating. All right, so she sucks, so we gotta break her up. But Rena's not gonna break her up. She's gonna kill her. That's what's gonna happen. She's gonna be, you're just like my mom. I couldn't kill my mom if I didn't. Then she's like, oh, wait, I killed somebody. And then she calls her friends to be like, hey, let's throw it in the garbage dump. Nobody ever goes there. And she's like, look, actually, I did this so I could be happy. And they're like, well, I guess that makes sense, Rena. That's how the chapter's going to go. They'll just take a longer time to get to that point than what I summarized.
困ったもんなのよ。
おう、そうよ。
Oh, that's the happiest he's ever been in his life.
こいつと俺はいわば一心同体ね。
What part?
この女に泥塗り腐るやつは俺に塗ったんと同じやんな。
Bro, she's your stripper. She's not your girl.
血祭りじゃすまんね
いつぞやかの。ほら、あいつ。あれ、表連れてってからどうしたんだったっけ？
あんバカが表へ出るとか抜かしょんからかかとくれてやったわ。野郎空手やるとか抜かしおるからどの程度か思うた。ちょっとしばいたら即土下座や。
Don't act like you're tough. You got beaten up by a 15-year-old boy. Granted, he had a baseball bat and hit you off your motorcycle and killed you, but still. No, but apparently he didn't kill you, which is still weird to me. Also, I love how, like, the most deplorable character in the... I love how one of the top 2 most deplorable characters in the game just wears a Hawaiian shirt. It's an interesting clash.
拍子抜けしたからズボン脱がせてそいつでこの表の歩道を磨かせてやったわ。
Yeah, it's still top 2. Not necessarily top 1.
おお、俺町の役に立っとんね。お役所に表彰してもらいたいんわ。
やだ、そんなことさせたの？あんたって時々容赦がないのよね。
Why is she laughing about that? She sucks. They started laughing loudly like they were doing earlier. Their laughter obviously intimidated their companions.
ねえ、あんたたち。てっちゃん、今日はね、すっごく気分がいいわ。
This is Tepe in a good mood. That's how much of a piece of shit he is.
普段だったら銭が足りんって騒ぎ出して、今頃あんたたちすっぱだかにされて玉子川に叩き込まれてるわよ。
すまへんすまへん。
Also, we definitely have to make this the thumbnail, right?
まあ利子は忘れたちゅうたかてかっちり期日までに額を揃えたんだきゃ感心さな。そこいらへん評価したってもええんで。
It is weird that if he has sprites, that they didn't put his sprites in Chapter 3 at all. We had to wait for until Chapter 5, like even retroactively putting them in.
それでね、
Surprised the 07 mod didn't do that.
てっちゃんの利子今日だから5本で済むけど、すぐに売買ゲームになっちゃうでしょ。
What kind of a loan shark is this?
そしたらあんたたちすぐに逆立ちしても払えなくなっちゃうわよ。でね、私あんたたちにいい話があんの。てっちゃん、悪いけどあんたちょっと席を外してちょうだい。
You didn't move your mouth at all for that last sentence.
しょうがねえな。
She's gonna tell him to get out of town. The man left the table with a grin and headed for the bathroom. He was far too amenable to that request, as if they'd planned for him to leave the table at that moment. Ritsuko made sure he was in the bathroom, then took some papers out of her bag and spread them on the table.
あんたたちも若いんだから、あんなヤクザに絡まれて一生を不意にしたくないでしょ。
You're not moving your mouth at all. What's wrong?
だからね、てっちゃんの利子は今日きっちり払っちゃいなさい。
You cannot open your mouth one time in the last 5 sentences.
そうすればあんたたちはとりあえずあいつとは縁を切れるわけなんだから。
そりゃそうですけど、
Sorry, but payday's not till tomorrow.
でも50万なんてこれ以上もう払えないっす。
Yeah, that's a bit of a tall order.
まあそうよね。200万だって相当精一杯集めたんでしょ。さらに50万も工面できるあてなんてないでしょう。
They must have done their very best to collect even the money they brought today. So it must be impossible for them to collect even a dime from anybody now. They hung their heads and told her that.
でね、ほら気を利かせて私が書いてきてあげたのよ。
Look, I appreciate the friendship bracelet, but that's not going to help us. The guys looked at the paper on the table and muttered under their breaths.
担保も連帯もいらないんでちょいと利率はあれだけど、これなら即50万積んでくれるわよ。 それにさ、この利率でもてっちゃんの利率よりは
You
はる
guys,
かに
you
マ
you
シだ
just
と思
borrowed
うん
the
だけど
500,000 yen from
どう
Furio
思うかしら
Tiger at the tender lender. Just make sure you pay me back, or you's gonna be eating the pavement. It'd be easy for anyone to guess what Ritsuko was trying to force them to do.
これにサインしたのを見せれば彼も男気を感じて勘弁してくれると思うわね。どうする？あ、万年筆使うなら
Is this her side hustle? She's got like an inn with like a loan shark somewhere? They read the small print on the documents and were stunned by the outrageous interest rate. Ritsuko didn't force them to do anything. She just looked out the window and smoked her cigarette. After a while, the man returned from the bathroom.
おう、話はついたが。
They looked at him, steeled themselves, and took the pen.
てっちゃんの利子借金で一括返済するって
Get to the chopper!
おうおう、関心なワーコードだね。男は背負うもんがなくちゃあかんね。
What's burdening you, Tepe? They must have planned this from the very beginning. The man and Ritsuko got what they wanted, and they grinned at each other. There were many things to fill out on the documents, and it was taking them a long time. The man and Ritsuko, already knowing that, started talking amongst themselves.
リツコ、お前のひなみ沢の旦那の注射どうなんだ
Husband? What?
旦那なんてよしてよ、
Oh, okay, okay. I'm like, did they secretly get married and didn't tell Retta?
どうなんよ。だいぶ銭持っとんと聞かされてるん。
How? He didn't have a good job.
どのぐらい絞れそうなんよ。
Uh-oh.
そうそう
Gold
それが
digger.
さすっごいのよ。別れた奥さんがだいぶ慰謝料をくれたらしいってのは聞いてたの
Wait,
よ。
whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in history, the husband's getting alimony from the wife in the divorce? What?
ね、それが本当にすっげえあるらしいのよね。
I mean, I guess that was 100% her fault in the divorce, so maybe if he got a good enough lawyer, but...
かなりってどのぐらいねん。
銀行に5000万くらい持っ
In
て
the
るわね。
bank? What? Oh, she sucks. She's just trying... She's a gold digger.
あぶく銭なわけだしね。もう気前がいいのなんのって。
なんねそれ。で、どの辺まで行けそうなんね。
私にだいぶお熱みたいだからね。だって私が言えば何でも買うのよ。何でも。
Ooh.
あんたみたいなドケチとは大違いよね。
He prefers the term frugal.
私も本気になっちゃおうかしら。
抜かせボケ。俺以上の男が他にいるか。
Ew, this guy sucks. Well, we already knew that. He more than sucks. In fact, if the actual implied implications that we got in Chapter 3 are true, he is the most disgusting, deplorable person in the game. If not, it's a bit of a tough competition.
もうこんなところでよしてよ。もう
で、そのひなみ沢の旦那にどう持ってくつもりなんよ。
あんたを出しに手切れ金がいるって方向で持ってくつもりなのよ。
See, fellas, if your girl is telling you that she desperately needs a lot of money from you, that's when, you know, especially if it's early on in the relationship. Although, if they've been dating for like almost a year, man, she's playing this well.
なんぼふっかけるつもりんね。
そりゃ
つっくづく恐ろしい女じゃんね。エキストラがいるときは呼んでな。
Also, keep in mind, this is... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you guys said that we heard Rina's name back in Chapter 3, right? And I assumed it was on the list of people who died in the damn disaster. Was she the name of this guy's, like, side, like, girl after his wife, aka the aunt, died? Oh, wait. If that's the case... Oh, no. Oh, no. If that's the case... Oh, this is gonna go in a really dark direction. Because in the prologue... in like the prologue of chapter 3, wasn't kind of the whole premise of why he came back to Hinamizawa that like the girl he was seeing died, and like to kind of escape the cops he went back to Hinamizawa? If that's the case, if Rena ends up killing Rina, like I think she's going to, then she's going to indirectly cause Teppei to go back and start abusing Satoko. Ooh. Again, like maybe I'm making a lot of leaps here, but since we see that they're kind of a couple, I think that tracks, and ooh, that could lead to some wild guilt from Rena if she realizes that's what happens. Supposedly is the mistress he was staying with in Okinomiya. Oh boy! Alright, well, I'm not gonna say I've got this chapter figured out, but I've definitely got my theory of what's gonna happen here.
俺も大暴れしちゃるんで。
すみません。書きました。
ああ、じゃあそれ持ってローン行こうか。律子、会計頼むね。
The man pat them on their shoulders, then walked to the door. Another person was just about to enter, and they nearly ran into each other. The man probably wouldn't make way for the person, considering his personality. But when he noticed who the person was, he stepped aside. Is it Oisi? Oh, no. Oh, it's Beardy! Oh, bro, it's Beardy. Oh, no, that means Shion's probably here, too. Crap. The person looked as vulgar as all the other men. He was wearing a black suit with sunglasses on. Yeah, you get out of the way for Yakuza, bro. He wasn't that big, but his stern look was very intimidating. It was clear at a glance that he was a gangster, and a professional one at that. The man who was behaving badly earlier looked a little nervous in front of him. As Ritsuko finished paying the check, she noticed the man in the suit. Is he the GM of the Gentleman's Club?
どうも、おはようございます。
Hey, Kasai. The man in the suit said nothing. He just raised his chin as if saying, fuck off. Ritsuko and the others bowed to him and left the shop in a hurry. The proprietor noticed the man in the suit, also greeting him with a bow. Who could he have been? He appeared sedate compared to the other men, but he must be dangerous, because he made them even step aside. Everybody in the shop thought the same thing and tried not to look at him. The man in the suit looked around and found the menu on the wall. The proprietor walked up to him hesitantly.
Master.
はい。何か部長報がございましたでしょうか。
この日替わりデザートのスイートなんとかというのは今日はやっているのか。
いえ、本当は今日はやってないんですが、どうしてもとおっしゃるんでしたら、
Teppei's just a small hooligan compared to Kasai. Kasai is also, I don't want to say like the good guy gangster, but he's not as foul as Teppei is.
無理なら無理と言ってくれればいい。出直す。
More understanding too.
ほら、葛西。
No! Get out! Leave! I don't want you on my screen.
特別にご用意って言ってくれてるじゃないですか。ここまで来てみっともない。
I gotta say, Shion, I hate you, but I do feel bad for your very deformed left hand that only has 3 fingers. I admire you for not mentioning it. The girl seemed to be the only one who couldn't read the heavy atmosphere in the shop, and she came in laughing cheerfully. It was Mion Sonozaki's twin sister, Shion. Shion pushed Kasai. That's not as you say it. Shion pushed Kasai. Shion pushed Kasai. Shion pushed Kasai into the store while he hesitated. She looked at a girl who was sitting down and stopped in her tracks.
あれ？やっぱりそうだ。ハロローン。レナさんじゃないですか。
No.
こんにちは。
No, I don't want to talk to her.
あ、しーちゃん。こんなとこで会うなんてびっくりです。あれ？お一人？ひょっとして誰かと待ち合わせ？
Rena's probably still in shock after watching her dad's girlfriend hardcore making out with Hawaiian shirt boy.
お姉かな？いやいや、ひょっとしてケイちゃんかな？しーちゃん、その連れの人は？
Who's the big buff bodyguard?
葛西のこと？まあ、私のボディーガードとか思っといてください。
Sup?
命の危険が迫ったら葛西が守ってくれるんだよね。
それがお望みでしたら命に変えてでも。
うわ 葛西、あと20も若かったらやばいかもだね。
Yeah, he deserves better.
顔は怖いけど面白いやつです。
Wait, who was the point of view for the narration? It was the author himself. I don't know. It said Shion noticed a girl instead of Shion noticed me. Yep. No, that was not from Rena's perspective. Rena probably didn't know all the nitty-gritty details of what happened, but she definitely saw Rina making out with Teppei.
こちらはね、竜宮レナさん、お姉のお友達。
葛西です。よろしく。
葛西さん、さっきすれ違った人たちは知り合いですか？
Kasai nodded, indicating that he was familiar with them.
誰？私は全然あんなの見たことないけど。
男は北条哲平。ちょいと礼儀知らずのろくでなしです。
That is putting it very nicely. Shion seemed to know who he was as soon as she heard the name Hojo.
女の人の方は？
間宮里奈。源氏名だと思いました。
You recognize her, Rena?
確か律子って名前だったかと。フラワーロードの店の一つで働いてる従業員です。
葛西さん、里奈さんとその北条さんは
They were making out, Rena. It's pretty easy to read between the lines.
とても仲が良さそうに見
The
えま
lines
した。
aren't even blurred at all.
北条は確か里奈と
He,
は深い
he
仲。
was her pimp! Wow!
たちの悪い連中ですので、関わり合いになられない方がいいと思います。
Oh, he's gonna put the idea in her head. She's the enemy.
どうたちが悪いんですか？
Rena pressed him for the answer, and Kasai seemed to back down a little from that pressure.
女の私生活には触れないのが仁義ってもんです。
どうたちが悪いんですか？
それはご勘弁を。
どうたちが悪いんですか？
Oh, Rena's not gonna stop. Rena kept asking the same question until she got an answer. Shion sensed how desperate Rena was and cut into the conversation.
葛西、意地悪しないで教えてあげなさいよ。興味本位で聞いてるわけじゃなさそうだしさ。ね、レナさん。
There was tension developing between Rena and Kasai. Shion seemed to be the only one who couldn't read the moon. No, she does. She just doesn't care. Kasai finally opened his mouth.
あの二人はたちの悪いろくでなしどもです。
Ooh, the music.
恐喝と博打で生計を立ててると聞いています。詐欺行為もやるって話で。
Badgers? But badgers are great.
詐欺ってどんな？
あいつらの詐欺ってのは、まあ何？結婚詐欺ってやつですか？
Uh-oh.
要するに、男の人に言い寄っていい感じになったところで相棒の男が乱入して俺の女に何しやがるって金を巻き上げる古典的恐喝です。
Why are you saying that with a smile on your face, Shion?
散々貢がされた挙句根こそぎ巻き上げようっていうクズどもです。最近でかい相手を引っ掛けたらしいと噂になっています。
Yep, this is definitely gonna cause Rena to go lizard eyes mode and kill her.
ちゃー、そりゃあどちら様か存じないけど気の毒なことで。でもまあ鼻の下を伸ばした代償なわけだし自業自得？
Nope, that's not how that works, Shion.
そんな言い方はないもんです。
That's more than just a little harsh.
男は時にコロッと女に騙されちまうもんですよ。
ほー、何それ？葛西をコロッと騙した女って誰？
Rena just walks out without a word.
マスター、デザー
Decides
ト
to
は
stop by a
私と
Home
葛西
Depot
と
on the way
あとレナ
home
さんで
to pick up a couple of saws.
今お帰りになりましたよ。
She also goes to Lowe's and buys some black plastic trash bags, some rope, a shovel, you know, just normal girl stuff. Rena was already gone. The door, which had just closed, looked as if it was the only thing that knew where she went. When I got home, the door was locked. I used my key to get in, and I found a note in the living room. Something's come up, so I have to go. I'm going to eat out tonight, is what the note said. This wasn't the first time he'd done something like this. Each time, he only told me he had to go to Okinomiya for something. But I knew the real reason, because I heard him talking on the phone once. Rina-san must have had some free time between jobs and asked him out to have dinner together. I heaved a sigh, looked at the new living room I hated, and went to my room. I thought back over what I just heard at the coffee house. I tried to rationalize the meaning of her actions there. Maybe she had to pretend to be a bad person because she was being threatened by the man. But even after the man she called Techan left the table, she continued to threaten the guys and push them into signing the loan contract immediately. If she was threatened to play along with the man, she wouldn't have done that. If she was pretending to be a bad person, she could have shown a little bit of mercy or sympathy when he left her alone with them. It's like holding water in a bowl you made with your hands. No matter how sturdy you made the bowl, water would leak from your fingers. Mercy and sympathy leak out from you. But nothing, not even a drop of water leaked from Rina-san. Her hands weren't even moist, they were all dried up. There was no water that could leak through those hands. Rina-san was threatening those guys as much as the man was. Neither was leading the other along. They were doing it together. That was it. Rina-san is a bad person. My brain cells accepted the idea with applause. After all, I always hated Rina-san. I just couldn't accept the feeling because my father liked her. But at that moment, I could finally accept it. She's a bad person, just like my mother. She's gonna be like, Oyashiro-sama told me she was a bad person, which is how I knew I've got to kill it for Oyashiro-sama. She's an existence that will ruin everything and destroy my father's happiness just by being with him. But I wonder if my father would understand that Rina-san is a bad person if I told him so. My father likes her so much he would probably jump over a cliff if she asked him to. He thinks everything she does or says is great, and he misinterprets everything about her in a positive way. He protects her and praises her without her asking him to. I'm not a kid anymore. I understand how a woman can tame a man. It's different from love. Love is about trying to build a relationship. Taming is just a way of satisfying the lust to dominate. She's trying to make him into her slave. That's actually a pretty good way of putting it. Women can deceive men, even my father. They can use dirty methods to ensnare men like they're following a manual. It's the weak point all men are born with. Even with a strong will, they can't resist it. Want a bet? That's why we hate those women who exploit that weak point to deceive men. That's why I couldn't bring myself to like Rina-san. For the sake of argument, let's assume I acknowledged an unreciprocated love of that. But that would only be as long as it was love. If it wasn't love, it was just a method to threaten and squeeze money out of him, I would never forgive her. I remember their conversation at the coffee house. Rina-san said that my father is a big spender. In fact, I think he spends more money without hesitation than before he met Rina-san. I was happy that he started to regain an interest in going out into the world again, but now I don't know whether I should be happy or not. He controls the money of the Ryugu family overall, but since I do the grocery shopping, he often gives me his bank book so that I can withdraw money. Because of that, I know where he keeps his bank book, his personal seal, and other important stuff. They're in one of his drawers, which he usually locks. I know where he hides the key, and I know the combination of the cash box inside the drawer. He might be coming back soon, so I felt a little nervous. But I had to make sure. I opened the cash box, which had some bank books, personal seals, stamps, and unused postcards. I removed everything from the cash box to get at the bank books. Then I found something new. On the bottom of the box, there was a bundle of new 10,000 yen bills. A sickness was something I couldn't ignore. That I couldn't or could? It wasn't something I could ignore. There was also a paper wrapper that looked like it had been bundling the bills. The wrapper had a stamp that said it was a bundle of 1,000,000 yen. He usually kept some cash at home because it was troublesome to go to the bank every time he needed money. But it was usually around 100,000 to 200,000 yen at most. He's never kept such a big amount of money at home before, because he knows it's unsafe. The extraordinary amount of 10,000 yen bills was abnormally intimidating. I tried to open the bank book, but my fingers got numb on my side. Oh boy. A part of me was trying to deny the things that I heard at the coffee house. It wasn't because I wanted to defend my father, or even Rina-san. It was because I didn't want to believe my father was the husband in Hinamizawa the blackmailers were talking about. I opened the bank book. The last time I saw it was about 2 to 3 months ago. It shows countless withdrawals since that day. I probably wouldn't normally understand what those numbers meant, but I felt in that moment it was the 10 different digits that were speaking to me. They were a series of cruel digits. It started with some understandable expenses that I assume represent dinners or something, but then the amount of money starts to become nice round numbers like a 5 or a 10. I can tell by looking at the dates that he withdrew money that he wanted to have a certain amount of cash on hand when he went out with Rina-san. Among those expenses, a big number appeared all of a sudden. It was too much money to spend on a date. Hundreds of thousands of yen. I looked at the date of the withdrawal, and I traced it back in my memory. I remembered. Around that time, Rina-san was talking about moving into a new apartment. I know the market rates of rental apartments in Okinomiya. You need to put down 2 safety deposits and 2 payments of key money in order to rent an apartment. That amount of withdrawal sounded reasonable now. He paid the whole down payment for her new apartment. After that, big numbers appeared one after another. I could tell they were congratulatory gifts for her new apartment or something. The numbers got bigger and bigger. It looked as if first he was withdrawing only the amount of money needed, but then he started withdrawing big amounts all at once because he knew he was going to use it someday anyway. And, okay, bro, you didn't notice the red flags at all during this? The change meant only one thing. He lost his sense of the value of money. The balance kept going down, and I started feeling anxious about what's going to happen if he continued spending money like that. But then I saw a deposit of a big amount of money into the account. Where did that money come from? There was only one thing I could think of. I opened the other bank book. It was easy, like a puzzle for kids. It was like playing an easy jigsaw puzzle that comes with huge pieces that you don't even have to put together to see what the whole picture looks like. My father was using money from his time deposits. In other words, the settlement money that mother paid my father when she divorced him. To him, it's cursed money. I'd understand if he wanted to use it to get a new love, but that was just an excuse to use the money from his time deposits. Money is money. Even though it's his divorce alimony, it's still important money for our future. Even though it's cursed money to him, that doesn't mean he can waste it. Big expenses start appearing one after another. There are many expenses, upwards of 6 digits. For some reason, I could immediately tell they were for buying electric appliances and furniture. He must have been buying everything she asked him to. If, from the beginning, Rina-san was only seen to check if he could... Hang on. If, from the beginning, Rina-san was only seen to check if he could end up being a big catch, she must have been trying to find out how much money she could squeeze out of him. And my father bought her anything she wanted, no matter how expensive it was. So she probably thinks of him as the perfect catch now. The numbers in the bank book told me so. The simple numbers and dates from the bank book had started talking to me. Around the time he started withdrawing big amounts of money, Rina-san started coming to the house more often, and also started spending the night. To Rina-san, my father was at first just a guy who spends big money, but around that time, she landed her big catch. My father used to refer to her as my friend in Okinomiya at first, but he started referring to her as Rina-san around that time. This is partially his fault. But he was betrayed by his beloved wife, and he was feeling hurt and down for a long time. It's also partially my fault. That's why I didn't want to blame him. And he's not that good looking either. There's no way he's immune to women. He must not have been able to resist an attractive lady who aggressively approached him when he was feeling down. He's crazy about Rina-san, and he can see nothing other than her. I can't blame him, because Rina-san trained him to be that way. I put the bank books and other things back into the cash box. This cash box is just like my father's heart. Rina-san is eating up the contents. What should I do? Think, Ryugu. Should I tell him about Rina-san's scheme? Yes! No, that probably wouldn't do anything. The whole point of taming an animal is that it won't run away from its owner even when the door is wide open. My father probably won't leave his cage even if I open the door. You have to at least try. Should I confront Rina-san about her plot when he's with her? The results would be the same. Rina-san would run behind his back. He'd probably try to protect her. If she pressed her breasts against his back, he'd protect her no matter what. I couldn't make this a problem between me and him. First of all, I was trying to get rid of Rina-san for his sake. If we got mad at each other, it would give the advantage to Rina-san. It would be like I was putting myself into her trap. Then that meant I couldn't make him do anything. If I couldn't make him break up with Rina-san, then I'd have to talk to Rina-san directly. So instead of making my father fight, I'd have to fight in his place. But how? That guy, Kasai-san, who was with Shi-chan today, seemed to know the man Rina-san was with. I wonder if I can somehow meet him again. You really don't want to, but he looked scary, but I was introduced to him as a friend of Mi-chan. Mi-chan has a lot of power around here. There's no way he would treat me badly. I wonder if he could tell me Rina-san and the... I wonder if he could tell Rina-san and the man to back off from my father. That'd help me a lot. But I didn't know how I could meet him again. I could ask Mi-chan for help, but I don't want her to know about my situation. This is a problem of the Ryugu family. This is nobody's business but mine. Yeah, this is a battle that I'd have to fight alone. I regretted my parents' divorce. I wept about the tragedy I could have prevented if I had tried. I wasn't going to weep this time. I wasn't going to let the chance slip away. This time, I would fight for my happiness. Oh boy. The alarm bell's going off in your head, Rena. New tips unlocked. Property estimate. Lovely. Achievement unlocked. The husband and Hinamizawa accidentally uncover a horrible truth. I mean, it's probably convenient that we do that, because otherwise we'd be out of money. Alright, what do we got here? Dear Ritsuko Mamiya-sama. Executive Housing Corporation. Attached estimate. We thank you for your past visits and inquiries to our office. We've included the estimate for the property you inquired about. Basic information. Property name, Palace of Versailles, room 707. Wow. I don't think that's a cheap apartment. Property code 14M1421. Property type, modern condominium. Layout, 2LDK. Address, Shishibone City, Kawasho to Chom. I butchered that. Transportation, redacted line, Gogura Station. 5 minutes on foot. Cost, 49,800,000 yen. Maintenance fee, 20,000 yen. Other, southeast corner room, elevator floor. Condominium fitness club membership included. Thank you for your interest in this property. The area around Gogura Station is a prime real estate zone for luxury condominiums. Along with future planned developments, the real estate values in and around the Gogura Station are expected to rise, and this property is not an exception. As a result, many prospective buyers are interested in this property. Hence, we'd like for you to understand that the selection process for this property will be done via lottery. Also, we also offer celebrity member preferential treatment, granting highly improved chances through additional lottery entries. Please feel free to inquire with our agents for more details. Executive Housing Corporation. Celebrity Account Manager, Kawabata. Yeah, I don't think that tip necessarily really added a whole lot to the story. It's just like, yeah, she going for the Versailles properties, so real expensive. Okay, well, that's where we're going to have to save and end for the night. But hey, we went through 2 additional parts of Chapter 6, so the things are getting interesting. I have a clear theory of what I think is going to happen throughout this chapter, but I'm sure there'll be some additional twists and turns along the way. So we'll be continuing this most likely Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in for that. Thanks for joining in and chatting, everybody. This has been fun as always. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and God bless everyone.